I'm pretty excited with the news that we're going to be announcing the procedures. I mean, I know you guys already read it on our emails, on our website. So like Tamisha said at the very end, if you have any questions, please hold them towards the end of the meeting. I'll be going through some bullet points that Trudy had put down, and I'll be adding some notes and some information for those. Okay. Um, and if you have any questions, also just put them on the chat, and we'll get to them as soon as possible at the very end. And just write down what you think. And if you have any suggestions, let us know. So phase one. Okay, so CCX career reopening. Like Tamisha said, just keep your microphones off, just so we're all able to pretty much hear each other, and you're able to hear me pretty clearly. Um, Questions will be answered at the very end, and you can also chat like I mentioned before on the chat function. So um, if I ever do this, because I'm kind of sending out some emails of people who are requesting to get in, so it's only going to take me a quick minute. I got the link pretty much copied and pasted so people could right away attend. So I apologize. Let's see here. So we'll start with phase one. So phase one, present till June 29th, we're currently working in the studio and preparing for the return of everybody on June 30th. So right now, when it says full staff, it's going to be Trudy and I, the create staff. So if anybody ever has a question before June 30th, please call us or give us an email. We'll try to get in contact with you right away. Sanitizing. We will be sanitizing um, pretty much all the cameras, wiping down all the countertops, making sure that when you come in, you feel comfortable that you're able to pretty much walk around without any worry. Um, Setting up workspaces. As you can see in the photo, we have some glass pretty much on the front desk. As you can see, that's Trudy's desk right there. To the left of that is my desk. That's going to be our workspaces. My workspace also has a piece of glass on there. We have stanchions. So that's going to help you figure out how far is 6 feet. We ask everybody pretty much stay 6 feet away from each other, just for safety reasons. We don't want anybody getting sick or coming down with anything. And if you are coming down with anything, please stay home or give us a call. And if you go to the studio and you start to feel a little bit sick, just let us know, and you know, pretty much go home. I say take responsibility over that. We don't want anybody getting sick from. Sorry, we don't want anybody getting sick in the studio. So now, again, with the stanchions, we're kind of creating a better environment, safety, and also we'll have the. I'm gonna cover this later on, but we're gonna have Ring doorbell, so we're gonna have the doors locked. But I'll cover that later on. So phase two. So that's going to be pretty much the opening of our doors, June 30th to August 3rd. We're going to take it very slow. We're going to try to do baby steps because we're all kind of cautious. We're all, I know a lot of people are comfortable pretty much going anywhere, but we're still trying to be cautious with the amount of people going into the studio. Things will be a little different, but we are definitely excited for June 30th. So now, when I mentioned Ring doorbell, I did say the doors were going to be locked, and you can only access the studio doors if you have a reservation. Um, if you have a reservation, if you have an appointment, we'll open the door for it. But if not, you have to call ahead, and we have to make sure that we have enough space for people coming through. It's going to be new changes. It's something new. We're just trying to be creative with everything that we have and what we're working with. While you're waiting outside, that's a good time to put on your face mask or your face shield. We ask when you walk in the studio, please have a mask or face shield. That's if you're editing. That That's also that includes if you're going to the studio, to the kitchen, to the lobby, if you're walking down the hallway, if you're going to the restroom, have a mask or face shield. Um, we're gonna be pretty stressful letting people know if I don't see you wearing one, I'm gonna let you know in a friendly way. Say, hey, you forgot your face mask, you gotta have it on. That's the only way to get into the studio. Um, we might have some provided. I'm not too sure. We'll try our best. But if you don't have one, let us know. Um, so now sanitizing hands. So pretty much when you walk into the through the doors, we're gonna have a sanitizing station with some stanchions. So when you walk in the door in the lobby, you'll be met with some stanchions and a little stool with hand sanitizer. Be courteous with the hand sanitizer because people will be coming in and out, and we just ask for you to sanitize your hands before walking in and when you walk in, and be courteous with the pump. And I think I would recommend bringing your own. I carry one around me everywhere I go. Even when I go shopping, when I'm done, I just squeeze some sanitizing stuff on my hands, and I feel good. So now the check-in area. So like I said before, there's the stanchions, the sanitizing. Um, what is that stuff called? The sanitizing stuff, gels. So that's going to be the check-in area. We are going to have a piece of paper that's going to ask you if you've been sick or not. Um, so that's going to be in the pretty much right when you walk in. We're going to hand you a piece of paper. You're going to fill it out, and you're pretty much agreeing that you've never been sick or you haven't been sick, and then you are good to go. Um, it's just something that's going to make everybody feel at ease when you walk in the studio. Um, so that's pretty much for phase two. And again, if you do start to feel sick, we ask people just to stay home or just call in, and there are no repercussions if you call in. If you start to feel sick, it's more of a staying healthy and not getting anybody else sick. So now let's jump over to studio. Existing reservations only. So we're working very hard and trying to modify the books, because I know we've been out of the studio for 3 months and we're trying to make everybody happy. And I hear somebody. And we will be contacting the regulars to revise and modify the current schedule temporarily. Um, it's going to be something new. It's going to be way different. And if you guys already read what Tamisha sent out, is very informative. It's kind of what we're going to be running with. So I'll just cover it very briefly. The 2-hour time slots, one in A and one in B, which means we're going to be switching things. So we used to have a 2-hour time slot. Now it's going to be a 4-hour time slot. So that's 8 hours in one day. So that means 2 productions a day. Um, and also we've opened the studio on Fridays from 1 to 5. Um, I know we had canceled the Fridays, but that's coming back in just to help out everybody else trying to get a production done. Um, and again, if you have questions about that one, we'll answer that one at the very end of our meeting. Um, so going to the next one is going to be set storage will be closed. Nobody will have access to the set storage, meaning we will provide chairs and little tables for your production, but that's pretty much it. No set props, no nothing, because the more people that touch the equipment in the back, it's just, we don't know. We're just trying to be safe and trying to be healthy with amount of things that are being touched. Like I mentioned before, chairs will be in the studio. They will be provided, and curtain or green screen. So unfortunately, since the set storage will be closed, that means that your 2 options will be green screen or curtain. We will try to help you out as much as possible. If you're looking to do curtain work, if you're looking to use the curtains, we'll try to make it as beautiful as possible for you. Um, I will try very, very hard, because I know we had a lot of we had a lot of props, we got some new stuff, but now we can't use it. So I feel like my duty is to make everything for you guys better. Um, we'll work very hard with those two options. Now, two crew members in the studio. So that means when you go into the studio, you're gonna have yourself, your host, and a guest in the studio space, and now you're gonna have two crew members. This is gonna be tough, and I know that, and it's new, it's different. It's gonna be a little tough for a lot of people that have big productions or have big crew members, but we're trying to make everybody work together, and we came to the conclusion that we're going to have two people in the control room. So we're going to have a switcher and an audio person. And the people who do a one-man show or one-person show should be fine. It's going to be like normal. But the people who usually have 5 people working on the productions, unfortunately, can only have 2 people in the control room, meaning, again, audio and switcher. Um, with that comes with, again, wearing the mask. So if you're in the control room, you have to wear your mask the whole time you're in there. And if you need assistance, I'm going to have somebody step out of the room, so it could still only be 2 people in the room, in the control room. Now, if we're going to the studio production, if you're about to record, take off your mask before you start recording, not 10 minutes, not 30 minutes, not an hour before you start recording. Right when you're about to start recording, take off your mask, and then you can start your production. It's gonna be tough for a lot of people. Sometimes people will take off their mask right away. I say hold on to it. It's not gonna hurt. Once you're recording, you're off you go. But again, we ask everybody to wear the mask. And now with that, with work in the studio, of course, microphones is going to be one thing. The microphone situation, to have less people touch the microphones is going to be a little challenging. Now, I believe we have enough mics, enough lavaliers to actually set some aside for quarantine and recycle throughout the lavs that we have. We just don't want a lot of people touching one lav, passing out to the next person, and to the next person, and then to the next person. Once that production is done, disconnect your lavalier. We're gonna have a little box for it, and then we're gonna put in quarantine. Okay. And right now we're kind of brainstorming on some creative ideas. So one is pretty much having a microphone up on top, kind of a preset kind of a microphone situation where you just walk in, you take a seat in the X marks the spot, you take a seat there, and then we'll pick up your audio from there without even touching the louds or the mics, and then off you go. We're still working on it. We're going to try to do some test runs and see how that goes. And if it does work, that means that's probably pretty much what we're going to go with. And like I said, everything's going to be in quarantine. So once we're done with the lavs, with the box, we'll put in quarantine for 72 hours, and then we'll bring in the fresh batch. So again, there's going to be a lot of disinfecting, a lot of quarantine. So editing. So reservations can be made starting June 23rd. The edit suites, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a 4-hour time slot. So that means 2 editors, I guess per block, meaning only 2 editors in the building at a time. If the 2 editors are in room 2 and 3, then the next 2 editors will be 4 and 5. If you decide to call it early, awesome. We'll be happy to open the door and off you go. Once you're done with the edit room, we'll have to go in there and quarantine. Well, not quarantine, but we'll have to go in there and clean it up and disinfect everything. So we ask everybody to pretty much let us know whatever you touch. I know we only have the keyboard, the mouse, and the computer, so just try to be cautious with everything that you touch. And if you start touching other things, let us know. We'll start disinfecting that. So with that, if you're in room 2 and the next person is in room 3, That's a block right there. So the next block will be at a room 4 and 5 that will become available later on the day or earlier in the day, depending which time slot you have. So, mask on until entering your edit room. So I mentioned that before. Once you're in the edit room, then you could take off your mask. Um, if you did decide to take off your mask, you open the door, decide to walk out, I'll let you know to go back in the room and put on your mask again. If you're trying to go into the lobby, take a stretch, go to the kitchen, restroom down the hall, check on the studio, wear your mask or your face shield. And anytime you leave your room, close the door behind you. Anytime you go into your room, close the door behind you. We're trying to keep everything kind of in a safe zone where everybody is comfortable. Um, so um, let's see, where am I? Questions will be answered. So questions will be answered remotely, meaning we're installing a system where we could actually help you out from a distance. So let's say somebody's working on editing and they have a question. So instead of myself walking all the way to you and opening the door and having a very close contact and helping you with your computer or your editing, we're actually installing a program that where you can actually chat with us through the computer, from my desk to your computer, from any computer in the edit room to my desk. So we're still working on that. We're hoping it's successful because we're pretty excited because that's going to be a new way to actually help everybody out. And also, not only is it for to ask questions, but it's actually a way for myself to actually remote in and assist you from a distance. We've never done it before. It's going to be new, so um, I say just be patient with me because it's going to be something new that I've never done either, and it's going to be new for you, seeing the mouse kind of go everywhere. So kind of excited about that. Uploading can be done from the edit room, and now a lot of people, I'm just gonna let them know is that edit room, it's used for uploading now because the staff, the not the staff, the Mac room where people usually go check their Facebook, upload to YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, or wherever, that's gonna be closed because the amount of people that will go in there will be so many throughout the day. So we're trying to make everybody kind of upload from their own edit system in their own room, directly from the computer. But with that comes responsibility. So we're going to ask people to take responsibility over that. Is if you are uploading, please only upload. Don't download because there's a lot of viruses and a lot of scams out there that we don't want to ruin the computers. And also, with that is it's only for uploading, not for social media. So we ask people to be courteous because a lot of people are asking to edit as usual, and we only have two available at a time. So if you're on social media and you're on there kind of taking up the time, then I'm going to ask you to give it up and give it out to somebody else. So somebody else could come into the next room. Because again, it's only two editors um, in the studio alone. So let's see. Members can bring in their own keyboard and mouse, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna give it to Mary. She actually brought that up in one of our awesome meetings that we usually have on Thursday evenings. No, Thursday afternoons. So she came up with the idea of if she has a keyboard, she has a mouse, can she bring that in without ever touching the other keyboard and mouse that we have provided? And I was like, wow, that's an awesome idea, Mary. You must be listening to me all the time because that was really good. So I'm gonna give it up to her. If you feel comfortable, bring in your own keyboard and mouse, and we'll hook you up through Bluetooth or Ethernet, not Ethernet, or the USB, or any way possible. So if you feel more comfortable with that, please give it a try, and that will help you as much as possible. Now, portable equipment. Checkouts will be longer than 48 hours. And that's going to start on June 23rd for reservation or booking your reservation. 48 hours, people are going to be kind of excited about that because it's a lot longer than usual. but there is a reason. Really fun idea that Tamisha came up with was contactless curbside pickup. So now that's a really big thing happening right now. We're kind of gonna join the bandwagon because I think that's the most safest and most responsible thing to do right now. Is once let's see, um, once you book your equipment and you're about to pick up, give us a call. We'll put all your equipment in a package or in the cart, and then we'll bring it out to you. Um, we ask for you to pop the trunk so we could just place it in there, and then we'll bring out your checkout form. All you have to sign for it, and that's pretty much it. And off you go. Off you go to make some award-winning, shows or whatever you like. So we're pretty excited about that. And if you don't want it in your trunk, we'll put it in the back seat or wherever. But we're just trying to stay, contactless as much as possible. Um, so with that is equipment will be in quarantine for 72 hours. So when you return your camera and your equipment, we'll place it in a room and we'll have it sit there for 72 hours. And that's for it just being in quarantine. So now after those 72 hours are done, we'll disinfect it and then put it back in rotation. So if somebody has a camera, returns it, we'll put it in quarantine, we'll disinfect it, and then put it back in rotation so it's ready to check out again. Um, it just we want to make sure that everybody's going to be good, healthy, and safe. And we have a lot of equipment, so it's going to be a lot of cleaning and watching. So now other rooms is going to be computer rooms will be locked, like I mentioned before. Um, if you have anything to be printed, or if you need anything to be copied, let us know. We'll do it from our computer. You could send it through Dropbox or however you want. Send it through email, and we'll have that taken care of. But we ask that the printer is only used for studio purposes only. I know a lot of people like to come through and pretty much print out taxes or anything they want, but we ask for studio production only, or editing purposes only. And let us know. We'll take care of that for you from our end. Restrooms are now automated, so this is pretty exciting. The paper dispenser, the soap dispenser, the water faucets, even the doors are pretty much touchless. We on the door we have a touch and pull or toe and pull. So when you're getting out, we have a toe and pull, so you don't have to touch a handle. Um, the paper dispenser, you kind of wave your hand. The soap dispenser, you just put your hand underneath it, and the water, you wave at it, and then there's water. It's like magic. So we're all pretty excited about that. So we've been asking for something like that for a long time. So we're pretty pumped. Um, rush. Let's see. Where am I now? Break rooms will be open. So now break rooms will now be open. I think I said restrooms. Break rooms will be open. Table space 6 feet apart. So I know a lot of folks like to hang out in the break room, in the lunchroom, hanging out, talking stories, gossiping. But we only ask only um, fill up one person per table, and I think we have like 4 tables or 5. So if there's more people than that trying to enter, I'd say wait in the lobby or in your room or in your studio, wherever you were at before. Wait until they're out, and then you could go in there for water, or for your lunch, or whatever you like. But again, one person per table. Now, phase 3 is going to be August 4th, but that's pretty much to be determined. We're kind of following the state and federal guidelines. So depending on how we do, hopefully we do awesome. Um, Hopefully we get more people in the studio, in the control room, and the studio. I already said studio, in the edit rooms, and the lobby, just to hang out like we did before. I kind of miss everybody in the studio. Kind of miss, just messing around, just talking, story sharing, and helping everybody out. Hopefully we get to that again. But again, we're gonna follow state and federal guidelines, and hopefully we go back to normal. So now I just like to say, thank you everybody for your patience through all of this. I know it's been tough. I know, you go to the studio to be creative, um, I love being creative there, and it's been difficult for me. That's my way of being creative in life, I guess. So thank you again for your patience. And if you have any questions, let us know. Now, here's the contact information. That's a create phone number, the front desk, the email. That's my phone number, my work phone number, and my email. So if you ever have any questions, please drop me an email or give me a call. And I'll be happy to help you out from wherever you are. So I think I would like to ask somebody if anybody has any questions. Please raise your hand or let us know.
Hey, Javi.
Yeah.
Tony Borner's got one here. It says
Okay.
KBD and mice requirements.
What do you say?
Keyboard, the
Oh.
keyboard and mice requirements. I'm
Um.
yeah.
Okay. So the keyboard and mouse requirements are going to be either Bluetooth or USB. That's kind of what we have set up at the moment. Bluetooth is easiest to connect right away, or through USB. So if you have either options, that'll be awesome. Bring it through, and we'll try to help you as much as possible, getting you hooked up onto that. So yeah. Any other questions?
For
Say a
those
lot
of you who
of
have joined us later too, we've been having people, if you want to type in questions either in the chat window or just you can raise your hand under the participants feature. Either place is fine. We can pick up questions from either place.
yeah.
Javi, I don't know, did you mention that we are going to call all of our people who
Uh,
have regular time slots?
I did. I don't think I did. I was in a role, so I kind of went
Yeah.
blank there. So yeah, if you
So
want to mention
so
that
if
real
you want
quick.
to, well, you can do that.
Okay. So going back to what we're talking about, the studio productions and the regulars. So things are going to be changing. We will be calling everybody, letting them know what the modifications and how we can get you back in the studio. Um, So expect a phone call next week. We'll try to contact everybody as fast as possible so you could get your schedules um, cleared up to get you back in the studio. Any questions?
Javi, can you tell us about larger groups like the Polka Show and how that
So
will transition?
yeah, so at the moment we're gonna try, like I said before, we're gonna try to take it baby steps. Um, I think to let a larger group and a larger crew, I think that'll be in phase 3. And like we mentioned before in the slide, that's probably going to be looking around August 4th. Um, and I apologize if you hear a lawnmower outside. I live in an apartment with a lot of people, so. But again, August 4th is when we're going to try to see what the state and federal guidelines look like. And then if it's looking good, then we'll let a lot more people into the studio, pretty much back to normal. But at the moment, like I mentioned, it's going to be 2 people in the studio and 2 people in the control room. So I will be calling you with some creative ideas, different ideas that other people came up with, because I know polka is a really big thing, and we want to get polka out to the viewers. So
Would there be a possibility to have an outdoor show in the parking lot?
that's a good question. That's something I would have to cover with the executive director. That's being creative. I like it. So if everybody wants to get creative and come up with different ideas, I would definitely ask everybody to do so. But yeah, I mean that's something I would definitely bring up to the assistant and the executive director. See what we can do with that.
And I'm on the screen.
Hey, there he goes.
My magic. Thanks. That's a good question. And we'll have to look into that because that's, that it's kind of like just taking me and thinking like, wow, let's think this through. There would still have to be some social distancing even outside. So, but I think would probably discuss that. Are you thinking, Dan, like a full group of people, or like a polka band and a couple of people? I mean, what were you thinking?
I was thinking a tent and a polka band and a party outside, basically.
Hmm.
So rain or shine, just put up a tent and have a good time.
Yeah. I guess we'll just have to flush that one out and look at it. I don't know if there's liability issues related to that, whether it's inside or outside, and number of people. We will definitely have to take a look at that, because I don't think that was on our radar screen at all, was it, Javie?
It wasn't. I like it though.
It's
We'll work
interesting.
with,
That's what
yeah,
they call thinking outside the box, or thinking outside the studio. So we'll discuss that. Dave can't be in this meeting this evening, but we'll discuss it. And obviously, I would have to discuss this with board members and possibly our attorney too, in terms of any issues related to that. So, are you thinking later on in a various phase, Dan? Like in the fall or what?
Well, summer is usually dry. We were thinking the summer shows would be perfect for the summer weather. And I mean, a polka show on a sunny day could be kind of fun, and that way people wouldn't have to wear masks, and it'd be a lot more better production value without all this distancing. And they're letting people out in parks now, and so we were even thinking having a limited number of people invited. So instead of 35, we would have 5 couples dancing rather than 35 people. So
well, the other thing.
Some dancing, but not.
Okay.
Dan, you're breaking up a little bit. I didn't hear the numbers.
Your signal is breaking up, Dan. Can you say the number? The numbers you were? Did you say 25 people?
I have a crowd of 45 at a polka show, but I was thinking if we had 5 couples.
Okay. Well, maybe you could write down your ideas, Dan, and then submit that to us. And because I do know, I think I just heard today that some of the cities are thinking about doing concerts in the park again. So I'd have to see how that all, because there are these concerts, and I think so depending on the band or the group, there might be people dancing there. So I'd like to kind of see those rules associated with concerts in the park that's sponsored by a city, because we are definitely run by the government. And if they're doing concerts in the park and allowing people to dance to some of the bands, that'll just be interesting to see if what's involved with that process. So I think that would be some of the research we would do too. So who knows? But really appreciate the question. Let's just give us some time to do some research on it. If you want to flush that idea out a little bit more and send a note to Dave Kaiser and myself, Javie, or at least get it to Javie, and Javie could pass it on to us in terms of more of the logistics again, and we'll do some more research on our end. So thank you.
Okay, we have some more questions in chat from Sharon. Will editing be limited to only 1 day with a 4-hour time slot per month?
It's a good
Javie.
question. Yeah, that's a good question. Like we said a little bit ago, we're still working on the schedules. Right now we have a schedule that's being worked on. Timesha's actually working on it, so we're trying to see how we can actually give enough people enough time for editing and studio. So we'll have to work with that and see what we could come up with. The ideal is pretty much get you in anytime it's available. But again, it depends on how many people are actually requesting. It's been more than a few months now, and I think a lot of people have a lot of projects to be working on. So, yeah, it's a great question, Sharon.
Okay, Ron Stoffel is wondering, will the cameras be preset for us? And I'm assuming, is that studio cameras, Ron? Thumbs up or thumbs down or yes? Okay, yes, studio cameras.
Okay.
Will they be preset? So I'm assuming he just means like setting them up.
Yeah. So yes. And if two people will be in the studio, host and um, your guest. So that means I'll be going in there and assisting, setting up the cameras. And your director, your switcher, will be kind of assisting with the shots as well, letting you know what they look like with the preview TV. So
I
we're
suppose
gonna be running around.
if they were just a one-person show,
Yep.
and they were just the host in front of the camera, your second person probably could be a control camera person, and they could set it for you, and they could wear a mask during the
Mhm.
whole time that they're in there
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
That could be an
Yeah,
option too for
yeah,
two people in the studio.
yeah, exactly. So if you have two people, if it was going to be a guest or a host, it's just a host. The other person could be a camera operator. Um, that'll be somebody running back and forth on the cameras. But if it's not a lot of hassle, just set the camera and start rolling. So again, we'll have cheap tables and chairs provided, so you don't have to go to set storage because that will be closed and locked. Um, and we'll be assisting with the lighting and with the green screen and with the curtain. So
Okay, Mary LaHaye. Are our old editing reservations still good, but cut down to 4 hours?
that's another good question, Mary. We're still working on that schedule. I think we're gonna try to call the regulars and let them know about your regular time slots and help you and everybody else modify those schedules. But I think we're gonna try to get everybody in as much as possible. And if your time is kind of set already, then we'll see what we can work with. And I think Dave sent me another message
Yep.
saying,
Well, this is from Sharon. Can the
okay,
cameras be moved to accommodate shows like Painting with Dave?
yes. So what we can do is I could move them around as long as Dave is in the studio. If you have a camera operator, definitely you could set up those cameras, but they have to be wearing a mask or face shield. So now I know Dave has two young ladies working on his production on the control room. So if one of those want to become the camera operator and then go back in the studio, I think that should be fine. We're still trying to figure out how that's going to work because we don't want everybody everywhere. We kind of want you isolated in one location. So if you're in the control room, you're kind of going to be in the control room. Now, saying that is, if I need to go into the control room, like I mentioned before, somebody's going to have to step out of the room for a little minute until I figure out the solution or the problem. It's just trying to be safe and having social distancing with everybody around. So does that make sense? And I just want to read off something that Dave had mentioned. It says, "Will you be taking temperatures after the 4 to let many people in?" I think he means August 4th. We won't be taking temperatures. We won't be scanning people. I think we're gonna trust you, and we're gonna try to work with you and make sure that you don't come into the studio sick or with a flu or anything like that. If you see any signs of coming down with anything, stay home. Not only are you helping yourself, but you're helping out your community and the people around you. I can't stress that enough. I know I've been told to bring this up too, but you're helping out so much just by staying home if you start to come down with something. Even if it's like a sneeze or a little cold or a flu, stay home, take some vitamins, relax, and then we're able to pretty much give that time to somebody else. You won't lose that time on a regular basis. You're just giving up that spot for that meantime. Again, we won't be taking temperatures. We're gonna trust you. We're gonna pretty much just work with you, and if you tell us you're good to go, then we're gonna take your word. So Any other questions? Anybody has anything? How many people are excited? I'm excited to see everybody back in the studio. I know everybody's dancing. Uh, so again, I'm excited. I really want to thank everybody for being so patient. I know it's been 3 months, but we're gonna try to make everybody excited, and we're gonna try to get everybody more, creative again. So, um, Tony Borner mentioned, what is the new schedule? Well, we're currently working on it, Tony. Like we said before, the schedule is going to be a little different. It's going to have a root share is going to be available, but we're going to be working side by side with root share. Everything's going to be written down, and everything's going to be on root share. So booking reservations are not going to be the best option. The best option is pretty much going to be calling us so we could get you on the books.
Javie's wondering about the open and close, like
Oh.
just the days we're open.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I sounded pretty insightful though. So the schedule,
Yes.
so the open and close is going to be just like normal. We're going to be from Tuesday to Saturdays. We're going to, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're going to be open from 1, it's been so long. I think it's from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m.
9.
Yeah, 9 p.m. And then Thursdays and Fridays, we're going to be open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Also, a Saturday is going to be from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m.
9 a.m.
So, 9 a.m. I'm sorry, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's on our website. If you have any questions, just of course email us. I see Juanita's waving.
So she must have a question.
Yeah.
We'll have to unmute her. Trudy, can you unmute her?
Hey, Juanita. Can you repeat that one more time?
There she goes. There, yes,
Yep.
now we can hear you.
Okay. When you're setting up the cameras, did you say that you would locate and get the cameras set up?
That's correct. Yep.
Oh, good, because I was just hoping that, because haven't done that at all. And if I'm in the room and the guest is in the room, I'm sure my guest won't know how to set up the camera, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I will be assisting.
Another question.
Might
be Tony Borner.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one more question if I go and you get done.
Of course. Go ahead, Juanita.
Okay, are there any special instructions you need to give to guests who are coming to the studio?
Yes. We ask that they wear a mask, and when they're ready in the studio, then that's when they could take off their mask. It's going to be different for guests to come in and be wearing a mask. We ask that not to hang out in the lobby as much as we used to. So if you have a studio production, go directly to your studio, to the studio that you're going to be in, either A or B. Stay in there, meaning less contact and being social distancing from everybody else. And when you do bring in your guests, please have your mask on until you start to record.
So if I'm in the studio when the guest comes, you can bring them there or direct them, or somebody
That's
can?
Correct. That's correct. We'll have a system called the Ring doorbell. So it'll let us know that somebody's walking through walking towards the door. Then we'll be able to walk through the door, and if they have a reservation or if they're a guest on somebody's production, we'll let them through the door. But we ask for them to only, if it's a one person, if it's a guest, to please just be themselves, not to bring kids, family members, friends, or anything like that.
Good point.
We're trying to keep the amount of people low that go through those doors. So if you have a guest, please bring in one guest and not two guests. Have them wait on the lobby in the studio. Just trying to keep the amount of people in the studio low. So
sure,
that's critical.
Hey, Javie.
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tamisha.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we can create something that our regular hosts and producers can send to their guests
Okay.
that appear on their show. Maybe we can come up with something so that you can send that out to them.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
good.
Yeah, and then the other thought that I had is sometimes like Juanita and like Jim is on the line here. Some of these people will have more than one guest come in, and with the 4-hour time slots, obviously you're going to be able to record more than one show. And I think probably at this point we would just have one guest per show, and then when that guest leaves, we'd have your other guest wait maybe in their car in the parking lot until that first guest had left, and then maybe then the second guest could come in and you could record your next show. Work at something like that just to accommodate everybody.
Figure out the details as you
Yes.
go along. Right.
Yeah, we're still figuring things out. So
But it
there
is
is a question.
important. Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing, Tamisha. It is extremely important that guests don't bring bring family members, kids, nothing. We're trying to keep the building down to a minimum number of people. So that is the most critical thing we need to do, is control the number of people in the building at any given time. And they will all be asked to use hand sanitizer and bring in a mask if they don't have a mask. We will have some masks that they can have, but they will have to wear that. And another thing that I don't know how much of this was mentioned, but we have to be super careful. I know all of you are very super nice to all of our staff and very friendly, and we hope that continues. But what I'm saying is, as executive director, and my staff all agree with this, we have to really keep the kind of the loitering and the kind of like hanging out at somebody's like hanging out at Trudy's desk. We can't do that anymore. We have to kind of just go to our area, whether it's the edit room or the control room or the studio, and just be serious about it. And then when you're done, you're done. But we got to really kind of cut down on just hanging out in certain areas, because the employees will feel, they may not say anything, but they may feel uncomfortable about it. So at least until we get through all of this, and that's all we ask. But we're very excited to have you guys back. With that said,
Well, talking about
We're still on
numbers,
it.
Gabriel's got a question in the chat. What if you are family? Can there be more in the editing or studio? I don't think we've figured that one out yet, as far as if you're in the same household.
But again, if they don't need to be there, I say just leave them at home.
Yes, I think for now, I think we got to keep it strict. The person who is editing, even in a family, because now you're talking about more people in the building. We really just bear with us through these first couple of months. If it's just you, is what we prefer, the person actually doing the work, because it really gets more of an issue of more people we have to manage. And again, even if it's family, I mean, there is more potential for spread. Even though it's a family unit, it could be somebody else who just went to the Target store, and who knows what. So we're asking to start out with that it would be just you. But this is again, we're trying to do the best we can, and we would just really want to start out in baby steps and work our way forward.
Yep.
Okay, next question from Mary LaHaye. What about cooking shows?
That's a good question. I'd say that should be fine as long as it's just 2 people in the studio. That's the numbers aren't going to change. You have your guest and your host. That's already 2 people in the studio. If you need a camera,
try to stay socially distant.
yeah, exactly.
What about down cooking? The kitchen set? That's what I was thinking, because you said you only have certain things that we're allowed to use, and that would be the cooking. I was thinking of Chelsea if she wanted to start doing some stuff, and with the Feed Me, what was the new name? Charlie, I think, knows, but yeah, her new show.
That's a great question, Mary. Like we said before, all the set props are going to be locked away. I know you could use
we'll have a selection in each of the studios, so we can make a note to maybe put the cooking counter down there.
Yeah.
Or maybe in phase 3, start something like that in phase 3, maybe. Just say wait till phase 3.
That stove down, Mary, you're gonna be cooking.
Yeah. Maybe not bring all the counters, just the stove,
Yeah.
not all the other stuff. You gotta. So.
Let's see, what other questions do we have? I think it might be.
Yeah, I answered Mei Chi. She was just wondering about when she can start to edit. So people can start reserving edit time and portable camera reservations Tuesday, June 23rd. By then, we should have all our regulars contacted and into a schedule, so we'll know what's available.
Yep.
And then Gabriel just wanted some clarification. It sounds like he meant certified persons working on the show, not bringing in just to babysit. So I think as long as they're certified, we're looking at 2 people in the control room.
Yep.
One at the front workstation directing graphics, the second person at the audio board, and then 2 people only in the studio, whatever that looks like, host, guest, host, camera person.
Yep.
So as long as they're certified, yeah.
Yep, as long as they're certified. And prime example right now, I just popped on my screen is Dustin. He's at the studio. He's wearing his mask. So anytime you're in the studio, wear your mask, even if it's homemade or if you have something that's ordered or face shield, bring it in. That's definitely required. So before you enter through the doors, you're going to have a face shield or a face mask.
Minnesota's top cop today announced major reforms within the Minneapolis.
Who's talking? Can you repeat that one more time?
I think that, Javi, I think that was somebody's TV set in the background.
Oh, okay. I see.
Hey, Trudy, can you see if Colleen Monroe is waiting? Oh, there she is.
There she is.
I got in. It took
Good,
a bit,
good.
but
All right. So, yeah, going off with that, if anybody else has any questions, please put them in the chat, and then we'll go from there. Or if you have a question, just raise your hand, or you can always email us anytime. Email me. I know we have the little screen up there. I'm just gonna put my email on here on the chat. So if you have any questions, copy that email, copy and paste it to email me anytime, day or night. I'll try to respond to you as quickly as possible. Let's see, I've been using my analog camera. Is it supported now? So the analog camera, it might be a 4x3. So I guess it depends on what system or software we have, and I'm pretty sure we could figure something out. We just got to be creative. We are CCX Create. We could figure anything out. So, any other questions? I like this. There's a lot of faces I haven't seen in a long time. So glad to see everybody. And I think there's 25 people in here. That's awesome. There's a little kitty cat, Danny Vons.
Well, we're very excited to have all of you back, and I'll have Javi wrap it up. But from the executive standpoint, you know, we go down there. It's kind of a ghost town, and so we're really excited to open the doors slowly, so to speak, and get things back up and running. We miss you, and we're anxious to get some programming going again. So. So thank you for participating in this event. And I believe, I don't know, Javi, if you recorded this, if you're going to send this out to others, but, oh, you are. Okay, perfect. Because there's others that couldn't make it this evening, but at least they can see the recording of this. Instead of watching Netflix, they're going to watch the CCX Media Create Zoom meeting. So who knows what the ratings will be on this one. Thank you, guys.
That's right. Thank you, Mike. And with that, I would like to say thank you, everybody, for coming in. You could have been watching Netflix, like Mike said, but you spent your time here with us for 1 hour and 6 minutes. So really means a lot. And again, if you have any questions, email us, call us, and please enjoy the rest of your night.
It's nice to see everybody.
And if you're a regular, we'll be calling you next week.
Yep. And this
Good.
video will be going up on Facebook and YouTube. So
I wish I would have known. I would have shown my face more.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Javie.
Thank you.